it takes a single grain too much to die, literally. Today, how addicts are abusing fentanyl and what it feels like. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Ruggieri, aka K Ruggs, the Sober Dog. I'm a recovering heroin, coke, alcohol, everything addict, you name it. Before we talk about what it's like to take fentanyl, you gotta know how we were abusing fentanyl and how it's still being abused right now. Fentanyl comes in multiple different forms. In the hospital, it's a liquid IV. Liquid outside of the hospital is not available unless it's illegally created. You also got lozenges, like a buccal form, and a mouth sublingual type tablet. Basically what all that means is a lozenge that goes under your tongue, or you could suck on a buccal patch, like a Suboxone patch, but that goes under your tongue. Obviously it's not Suboxone. A lollipop thing that you suck on, another pill that dissolves in between the cheek and the gums, an oral spray, a nasal spray. Why they have 5 different forms that all do the same thing, why they can't have one that just goes under the tongue, I don't really know. I guess just different companies try to invent different ways, but it's all the same thing. Although those last 4 or 5 ways, there's something to do with dissolving in the mouth and the mucous membranes in the mouth. But so then the most common way it is given on the street as a prescription legally is patches, fentanyl patches. Those are fentanyl patches. Fentanyl patch is, what a lot of people abuse. And then in the last 15 to 20 years, maybe even, shorter than that, the last 10 years, fentanyl is being mass created in China and Mexico in these huge illegal black market labs. And the cartels and dealers are using it they're cutting heroin with it, they're cutting coke with it, they're making counterfeit oxys and Xanax and putting it in there. They're dripping it on paper, and you could just get like a little piece of paper, and you just cut off the edge of a little piece of paper, and that's, they'll suck on it. Fentanyl powder is being sold as is, just a baggie of fentanyl. There's addicts that look for nothing but fentanyl. It's insane. Speaking of the little paper, that's a big way stuff used to get smuggled in prison. That's a big way fentanyl gets in prison, is they'll drip it, on a bunch of paper, a bunch of mail, and send the letter in. And then the person, the guard checks out the mail, everything looks legit, oh great. And there might be a little bit of a wet spot right here, but so many, girlfriends spray perfume that the guard doesn't think twice. Smells like perfume. The inmate gets it. He could cut that up into 100 little squares and sell them. In each square, somebody can suck on and get high as a kite. But the prisons and jails have caught on to that. And now what they do is they photocopy all your mail and they give you the copy. So you don't even get the original anymore in many places. But those are all the different forms fentanyl comes in. Fentanyl street names. Fentanyl goes by China White, China Girl, Jackpot, Apache, Dance Fever, He-Man, White Boy. And the reason it's White Boy, girl is cocaine and boy is heroin on the street. You say, let me get 2 boy and 3 girl. If you just said boy, it'd be heroin, but the white boy is the fentanyl heroin. Fenty, lollipops for the fentanyl lollipops. Nil, just that nil. And then there was a couple I had, that are all over the internet, like DEA website, CDC website, all these other places. A couple of nicknames. I've never heard of these, but Goodfellas, Tango and Cash, and Murder 8. I've never heard anybody call fentanyl those things, but I'm not out there using right now, so they very well could be. As I explained earlier, now it's coming in the illegal powder from the cartels. But if you're abusing it from the legal sources, the prescriptions, you get the patches. I showed you that's the patch. Now, the patches come in 12.5, 25, 37, 50, 62.5, 75, 87.5, and 100 micrograms an hour. Fentanyl is measured in micrograms, not milligrams, because it is so damn strong. What that number I just read means, so if it's a 25 microgram patch, 25 micrograms of fentanyl is released per hour. The person who gets a prescription puts the patch on their arm or thigh, and that releases 25 micrograms of fentanyl per hour for 72 hours. Us addicts would get that patch, put it on our arm, take a hot washcloth, put it on top of it, or a hair dryer, and try to push out 72 hours worth of fentanyl in 2 minutes. We'd also take the patches. The patches come in two forms, gel or just kind of regular, and I do believe they got rid of gel, but I'm not positive. So the regular kind of looks like a nicotine patch. The gel is literally like a layer of gel. The regular patch, you know, we could cut up into 4 pieces for 4 addicts who have full tolerances to split, and we'd suck on it. And again, that's releasing 72 hours of meds in about 40 minutes. So we're trying to get that whole thing. That's why it's so dangerous. But that's also how strong fentanyl is. 4 addicts who are doing 8-10 bags of heroin, you know, in a sitting are splitting this 100 microgram fentanyl patch. The gel patches, we would actually break open and smoke the gel. That, again, is unbelievably dangerous because you're getting, you know, a day worth of medicine in a second, you know, smoking it. Also, we would take the gel, put it on paper, put it under like one of those really strong lights, almost like a grow light you use to grow weed, and dry it. And, you know, once it's dry, we break it up into a powder and snort it. Those are, you know, some of the ways. And you want to know how strong a fentanyl patch is? This is insane too. I explained in the last video, you know, fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more powerful than morphine. That little bit, you know, can kill a grown adult. But this is also how insane fentanyl is. We know people who'd have prescriptions for fentanyl. They'd put a patch on their arm, and it was so strong, they'd keep it on for 4 days, and it would help them with their pain. We'd buy that patch from them after the 4 days, and we could still use that patch. I know it's gross, but we would suck on that patch, and there was still a ton of fentanyl left in it after its full use plus a day. That's insane. You know, for a full-blown addict to be able to get high as a kite after the patch has been used for 4 full days is insanity. So to the big question, how does fentanyl feel? What is fentanyl like? The fentanyl high is extremely similar to the heroin, oxy, any opioid high. Again, you know, route of administration is very important. If you're putting the patch on, and, you know, even if you're doing one of those things I said to abuse it, like the washcloth or something, it still is going to take substantially longer than if you're snorting it, smoking it, or injecting it. So the high is very similar to heroin, but the difference with fentanyl is, so when I would do a good bag of heroin, let's say I was snorting it, I realized it was good probably 90 seconds after I snorted it. I'd snort it, you could taste that it's good, but the effects are starting to hit like 90 seconds in. With fentanyl, those effects are hitting like 30 seconds in. It passes the blood-brain barrier a lot quicker, so it hits you way quicker. You got this drug that is 50 to 100 times more powerful than the average heroin, or even good heroin. So it's that much stronger, and it physically goes through your blood-brain barrier quicker than heroin or oxy or other opioids. So it's a huge rush, very quick, very powerful. And what ends up happening so much of the time is if you do too much, it's so quick that it happens so quick. It's so powerful, hits you so fast. Fentanyl has no taste. It doesn't have any taste, smell, odor, anything specific. So when you snort heroin, or shoot it, anything, you could taste it. That's one of the first things. You could taste it in your mouth. I don't know why. It's just this weird thing. And there's this taste of heroin you could taste. Oh, wow, that's good stuff. Same thing with Coke. When you inject Coke, you could taste it. Oh, wow, that's good. Fentanyl doesn't have a unique taste. It's odorless, smellless. It's just like a powder. I was going to say benign powder, but it's definitely not benign. Just a powder that, you know what, you can't smell it, taste it, whatever. And when you shoot that, it's not that taste, it's not that. It is just pure, like, brain effects right away. And when I say brain effects, what I mean is you get that lightheaded high, that euphoria, whenever you inject or snort or smoke anything. With fentanyl, it's that euphoria, and it's hitting quicker, harder, faster. Right off the bat. And because it hits and goes in quicker, harder, faster, it also leaves quicker, harder, faster. Fentanyl, those peak effects are going away in 20, 30 minutes. You know, maybe an hour if you're lucky. Fentanyl hits quicker, hits harder, hits faster, goes away quicker. So people who are full-blown fentanyl addicts or, you know, are used to heroin with fentanyl keep needing more and more and more, quicker, quicker, quicker. They might have to use it 10 times a day to, you know, stave off that withdrawal than a heroin addict who might, you know, get away with using 3 times a day and not go into withdrawal. Fentanyl is insane. I mean, the high is very similar to heroin, opioids, but just way more intense and quicker, and it takes a single grain too much to die. Literally, that single grain too much to die. It's nuts. If you want to know all the info about fentanyl, what fentanyl actually is, check out this video. I just posted it last week. It gives you all the inside info on what fentanyl is, all the detailed research. Don't miss out on it. If you like Soberdogs content and you get value, hit that subscribe, hit that like. K-Rugs, the Soberdog, and I'm out. See ya.